My name is Courtney Fletcher and I'm a co-founder at Entrepreneur Babes. So I first got into entrepreneurship when I was back in college. I was a junior. I was going to be going to the Thomas Jefferson Medical School, and a friend of mine came to me. She was like, "Courtney, I'm so excited. We're going to do this network marketing thing." And I didn't really know much about it, but I saw how excited she was, and I just had this light bulb moment. I saw that this network marketing opportunity was something that was going to allow me to really create my own life. It started opening me up to different opportunities, to different books. I got my hands on the book Think and Grow Rich. I watched the movie The Secret, and it was just like a light bulb moment. For some people in entrepreneurship, they need to convince themselves, or they need to see proof in the pudding, or they need to have validation from other people. But for me, it was just like this light bulb moment. I knew that that made sense, and I knew that I had so much more to offer in life than to just do what I was currently doing. So I decided to go all in. I went home and I dropped out of college, which was a really big move for me. And everyone thought I was just making a huge mistake. I got hate from so many people, to the point where I ended up actually going back to college. My aunt, who's my legal guardian, was like, "If you go back to college, I'll continue to pay your rent and your bills." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm not paying my bills. So yeah, that sounds good." I went back to college, and I just had this experience one day. I was sitting in class and I really wasn't super involved in my classes. I had already gotten a taste of like this good life that I really wanted. I just wanted so much more for my life, and sitting in class every day, I knew the path I was on, and I knew it wasn't the path that I really wanted to be on. And so I remember my professor one day, he was in the front of the class and he was like, "Yeah, I went to LA this weekend. I was visiting my in-laws. They have a house, they have a yacht, they have all these nice things." And he was like, "They're the lucky ones." And I remember just sitting there and thinking to myself, like, this person that I'm learning from doesn't even believe in himself. He believes that in order to have a good life, you need to be lucky. And I just thought, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing wasting my time in here? I have so much to offer. I want to inspire people. I want to do nonprofit work. I want to create wealth. I really want to change the world. Yet I'm wasting my precious time, because life really is so short. I'm wasting that time in this class learning from somebody that doesn't even believe in himself. I knew from the little mindset work I had started on that the power of association is such a real thing, and who you surround yourself with is going to really affect your success. And I just knew I had to leave. So I went home, I dropped out of college again, and that's really when my journey into entrepreneurship like truly began. I grew up in a very non-traditional home. My legal guardian, who my aunt was, she pretty much just cut me off when I decided to drop out of college. So it was a struggle. I didn't really have much support. I didn't have anyone to go to. Most of my friends really didn't believe in what I was doing. A lot of people were really disappointed in me. That's when it really began. And a lot of people, they see these entrepreneurs online or wherever they see them, and they just see the good parts, and they don't see like everything that led up to that moment, all of the tears and the pain, and like, oh my God, I'm literally like getting emotional about it. That's so weird. My emotions are very heightened doing this interview, but I don't want to cry. Yeah, so like, where was I? They just don't see what goes on in order to make it to this point. And so my journey into entrepreneurship was so challenging. It was so dark. It was so hard. It was like literally some of the hardest days of my life, but I knew that I really wanted to create wealth, and I wanted to create freedom, and I wanted to teach so many people how to do the same thing. So I never let go of that vision, even when I couldn't pay my bills, even when I was sleeping basically in my car sometimes. Like, I just kept going. I kept thinking about the future I wanted and the future of all these people around me, and I knew I could just impact so many lives. So yeah, it wasn't this like beautiful journey into entrepreneurship that I think people think it was. It was just a lot of like struggle, a lot of crying, a lot of pain, some of the darkest days of my life, really. That is like what started everything. By the time I got into e-commerce, I saw this opportunity to create passive income and work remotely and just have the freedom. And so I was like, okay, that has all the outcomes I want. I need to figure this out. I had tried so much for so many years, and I really did struggle. So at that point, I knew I had to figure something out. Also, part of it was the fact that I did have all these tools in my toolbox. I had so much experience, and I had so much grit, and I had such thick skin. So when I found something that really made sense, I had the resources I needed. I had the mindset, I had the mental toughness, and I was able to go all in and really succeed. And I think that if I had found e-commerce in the beginning of my entrepreneurial journey, I don't know if the outcome would have been the same because I hadn't gained all of that experience. I hadn't gained all of those tools. And that's really what helped me find success in e-commerce, which led to Ecom Babes. And then Ecom Babes specifically, I had to be super lean and I had to be super scrappy and I had to figure out what worked. And that's when our edge, we have connective e-commerce, which is what we teach in Ecom Babes. And it teaches women how to start this type of business without having to invest a bunch of money in inventory, having to spend loads of money on advertising, and without needing any experience. So because of my scrappiness that I had to use over the years, I was then able to pass that on to my students. And I'm super grateful for that. And I saw so many women were in my shoes. They had all these unique stories and they also were lacking the resources. We were able to find a lot of success in Ecom Babes through this connective e-commerce strategy that really helped women win without needing all of these resources that typically are required for a successful business. So I decided to start Entrepreneur Babes because I saw that there were very limited resources for women in entrepreneurship. I had been in entrepreneur groups and I was always very intimidated. There was a lot of men. I feel like I couldn't relate to them. I did see that there were some people running courses for e-commerce and different things online. Again, they were run by men, and I wanted to do it for women only, and I wanted to do it better. I wanted to show up with the best integrity, honesty, and fully just over deliver for these women, which you don't find in this space very often. I lacked a lot of resources as an entrepreneur and a lot of support, and so I wanted to show up in this space and really deliver that for women so that they could feel like they had a community, they could feel fully supported, they could feel like they had a sisterhood, and that was something that was really lacking in the online entrepreneurship space, especially for women. I mean, point blank, you just can't find what we have anywhere. You really want to surround yourself with the right people. The power of association is such a real thing. If you really want to be around the right people, you want to be around people that are going to help you win. And so what a better place to be than around 5, 6, 7-figure female entrepreneurs. I knew that that was a total game changer. The content aside, just the community, the coaching, the support was a total game changer. And for me personally, I would have invested thousands of dollars. I would have found the money. I would have done whatever I could to get my hands on information like that, on resources like that, on a community like that. That is just invaluable, and I really wanted to create that type of space for women. I wanted women to feel validated. I wanted them to feel heard. I wanted them to feel listened to, because at the end of the day, we get on the phone with so many women that have gone through some real life experiences that are hard, and these are so very successful women in their own ways because they're strong and they're survivors, and they don't get enough credit. I really wanted to celebrate them and acknowledge them and just have more of that intimate sense of we see you, we recognize you, we hear you kind of experience, which is what we really strive to provide at EB. And I think that this kind of thing can be really intimidated. I know for me, at least when I was a struggling entrepreneur, I would see these people online that they really did look so perfect. It just looked like everything in their life was so perfect, and I just really wanted to show up and be as imperfect as possible and really inspire these women the best way I could. So the name Ecom Babes was brought to life by one of my co-founders. I remember I was actually sitting in my car in front of a taco stand, and the two other founders, they were outside the car. They were getting food from the counter, and we were at the time where we were trying to figure out a name for it, and one of them just came up and randomly rolled down the window and was like, Ecom Babes. And it sounded great, it stuck, I loved it, we all loved it, and so we just decided right then and there in front of a taco stand in the car that that was gonna be the name, and I loved it. And we later switched over into Entrepreneur Babes. So Entrepreneur Babes is our big umbrella company, and within it we have different opportunities for women to succeed in entrepreneurship, and Ecom Babes falls within it. But Entrepreneur Babes was just, that came pretty easily. I don't even remember who came up with that name, honestly. It just made sense. So the kinds of skills and information that we're trying to teach these women goes way beyond the skills of business and e-commerce. Really at the root of it all, and at the root of every single entrepreneur, is a person that is resourceful, is a person that's a problem solver. You could put the best program, the best coach, the best anything in front of the quote unquote wrong person, and they're not going to see the results that they want. So the main skill that we try to teach is just becoming the best version of yourself and becoming this new version of yourself, this 6-figure, this 7-figure earner, this unstoppable hustler that can really shine and shine in any situation. So really with just a combination of the actual educational content where you're learning about business and you're learning the skills for business, along with learning about becoming a different version of yourself and truly evolving into that version of yourself, you take these ingredients, you put them together, and that's really what breeds an unstoppable entrepreneur. And that's our mission, and that's our goal, and that's really what we strive to do. A great way to think about this, because not everyone gets this component. They want to just join Econ Babes and Entrepreneur Babes, and they want to skip the mindset work, and they want to skip the personal development and the actual evolving of a human. They just want to skip that and skip the transcending part. But if you were to take Oprah Winfrey's mind and you were to put her mind in anybody, that person by default is going to become extraordinarily wealthy because they have the mind of Oprah Winfrey. Same with Elon Musk, anyone, any really successful person that you can think of, you take their mind, put it in someone else, and by default, they're going to become that person as well. And yes, Elon Musk obviously is super smart, but like Oprah Winfrey, she had very normal beginnings, and she had to evolve into this version of herself, and that's when the success came. It's like when a lottery winner wins the lottery and then they go bankrupt a couple years later, it's because they're still operating from the mindset of scarcity and lack. And then you take Donald Trump, for example. Love Donald Trump or hate him, the man was billions of dollars in debt, and he gained back all of that wealth because he had the mindset of a billionaire. And that he wasn't born with that. He had to build that. He had to work on that. And so that is really like the best example for trying to explain what we're trying to teach to women is, yes, the skills are so important, but what's even more important is turning you into an unstoppable hustler so that you can really win at absolutely anything you do. There's been so much success at Entrepreneur Babes, both students and people within our team. Just being in DC right now, we're in DC celebrating one of our millionaire students, and just like her story alone is just so inspirational. This woman has gone through so much in her life, and she's really just evolved. And like, yes, we gave her the roadmap, but she was the one that showed up and did the work. It's like you can get the gym membership, but unless that person's going to the gym and they're eating healthy and they're doing the workouts, they're not going to see the results. So there are women that have come into this thing and they've taken every ounce of this opportunity so seriously, and they've done the work on themselves, and they've really evolved, and the transformations at that point are just limitless. I've seen so many people earn 5, 6, 7 figures. The financial piece is amazing. I've seen people employ their friends, their family, but what's even cooler than that is just seeing people just evolve into this really inspiring version of themselves, and just seeing the way that they go on to inspire other women. And it's almost like this ripple effect where they just are so unstoppable and they believe in themselves so much that it really just is contagious and it passes along. So yeah, there's been loads of success, financial success in EB, but there's been so much success in other ways. People have found sisterhood, they have found friends, they have learned to really love themselves. I remember one girl messaged me and was like, since joining EB, my confidence has gone through the roof, my work ethic has gone through the roof, I lost 50 pounds, and my husband brought me out on a shopping spree this weekend and he bought me all new clothes. And she was in tears, she was so excited. There's just incredible transformations in all forms, and it's not just our students, our EB family too. We have a girl that works with us. She's literally amazing, absolutely amazing. And I remember she called me a few months into this position to say that not long before she had been on food stamps, and now she was earning like a 6-figure salary. And that was just such a cool feeling to me, to know that like this is why you get up. There's some days when I really just want to go back to bed, or I don't want to do anything, but then I remind myself like there's like people, humans like sleeping on the street right now, and you're in a bed. There's dogs, because I love animals, there's dogs that are being euthanized right now, and like you got to get your butt out of bed and do something about it. There's people that need jobs, you know. And just hearing her specifically say this to me, that really lit a fire under my butt, where I was like, this isn't even about me anymore, this is about showing up for other people. Becoming an entrepreneur just gives you your power back. I know for me, throughout my entire life, everybody else had the power. It was my aunt, she wanted me to play sports, she wanted me to get good grades, she wanted me to go to this college, my teachers wanted me to perform a certain way in school, my coaches wanted this out of me, and I know it was like that for so many of my friends. I see people that are in relationships and they don't want to do certain things because their spouse doesn't want them to do it, and becoming an entrepreneur just gives you all of this power that so many people took from you for your entire existence, really. You finally have an opportunity to do something for you, not because your boss told you to do it or because so-and-so told you to do it. It's because you want to do it. It allows you to really just create the life that you want, however you want to create it. So I think being a female entrepreneur is so important because women are incredible. They're so nurturing by nature. They are more nurturing than men. And when you give women like that resources, they do amazing things with it. I always say that money is just an amplifier of the kind of person you are. So the more money you have, and if you're a good person, the more good things you're gonna do, and vice versa. And women tend to be great. Because women are so nurturing, I see women always doing really great things when they have the resources. An example of this is there was a dog rescue that I work really closely with, and they were just struggling. They were loaded with bills after bills after bills, and I donate every single month, but it's even hard for me to constantly help. And so I posted on my Instagram story just like one of the dogs that really needed help and that they're running out of funding, and I put the link, and then immediately my friend who runs the organization, she texted me and she was like, "Is so-and-so one of your friends or students?" And I was like, "Yeah, why?" And she had sent $1,500. And not long before this, like a year prior, this is one of our 7-figure students, a year prior she was working a normal job making like $1,500 a month, and there she just made a $1,500 payment to a dog rescue she didn't even personally know. She was just going off me. And it just goes to show women, they do such amazing things when they have the resources. So I love women entrepreneurship. I see women changing the world in so many different ways when they have the resources. And so for me, that's really important. Not every single person cares about what I care about. I care about women entrepreneurship. I'm plant-based. I care about animals. I rescue animals. Not everyone vibes with that, and that's okay, but everyone has their thing that they care about. And so when you give them those resources, they can really make the world a better place in that area of their life. So I think e-commerce is so special because really nowhere else can you go out there and start a business for $39 a month. It's literally impossible. And so if you're looking to create the life that you want, you're looking to have time freedom, financial freedom, there's no other place to do it than e-commerce that's gonna make it this easy, this tangible. And I don't wanna say easy because a lot of work goes into it, but it's never been easier now in this time of day to get your hands on an opportunity where there's no cap to what you can do for just $39 a month. I mean, that's just a no-brainer to me. So if you're thinking about giving up, first off, don't. I failed so many times. I think it was 7 times I quote unquote failed. The owner of KFC, he failed 1,009 times. His recipe for his chicken was rejected over 1,000 times. Just know that most people fail a ton of times, and you can't just throw in the towel after one failure. And because it's not even a failure, there's just another tool, there's just another experience, and these experiences and these tools are gonna help you later down the road to become the best entrepreneur you can be. So everything that's happening, if you have the right mindset and the right perspective, just know everything that's happening is happening for you, and it's all happening for a higher purpose. And you have to remember it's not about you anymore, and you have to take yourself out of the equation. It's incredibly selfish if you give up, because not only are you giving up on yourself, you're giving up on so many people that you can help and that you can inspire. So if you really take yourself out of the equation, it makes not giving up so much easier. I remember one of our first students who had her first $100,000 month, and it was such a big deal to me, and I was so excited for her. And I remember looking back in the schedule to the very early days of EB when I was getting on the phone with people and I was talking to these women, seeing if it was a good fit for them, if it was a good fit for us. And I remember this girl, she's actually a really good friend of mine now, but I had this like memory pop up on my Facebook or wherever it was, and it was my schedule that day. I remember my schedule was packed, and I had taken a photo probably because I was like, wow, this is a lot of work I gotta do today. And I remember seeing her name on that schedule, and it really hit me that in those early days, I was so nervous to get on the phone. I did not want to talk to these people on the phone. I was like, I know e-commerce, but I don't know about like getting on the phone. I don't know about this coaching thing. Even starting the program, I was super nervous, and I just kept pushing myself. It's like everyone thinks that they need to be perfect, they need to have it all figured out, but you really do just build the airplane as it's flying, which is exactly what I did. And because of that, it did put me in positions where I was super uncomfortable and super nervous a lot. And that's when I realized, like, wow, Courtney, this isn't about you anymore, because how selfish of me would it have been to not get on the phone with her that day, because I was just scared and I was nervous and I was worried that she was gonna judge me or make fun of me. And I almost literally stole this life-changing opportunity from her because of what I was feeling inside. And that's when I realized it was just a total game changer for me that day. And that's when none of this really was about me anymore. It was every time you're feeling nervous, you're not feeling like doing it, just think of that person that you might be like quite literally stealing this opportunity from. And that really just helped change my perspective on things.